Glory to Jesus Christ. Hello, I'm Father Thomas Loya. I'm a Byzantine Rite priest. That means I am a priest of what St. John Paul II referred to as the eastern lung of the Church. But regardless if we are a part of the eastern lung of the Church or the western lung of the Church is where we find the real meaning of things like the Christmas event, the Christmas season. And we find the real meaning, especially in the prayer of the Church. I'd like you to listen to the words from the prayer of my church during this time of year. This is what we chant, in fact, in some of our services. A glorious mystery has this day come to pass. Nature is being renewed, and God becomes flesh. How shall I tell this great mystery? He who is without flesh becomes incarnate. The Word puts on a body. The invisible is seen. He whom no hand can touch is carried. And he who knows no beginning now begins to be. The one who has heaven for a throne is now laid in a manger. The one whom the host of angels attend on every side has come down among shepherds. The Son of God becomes the Son of Man. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. These marvelous words, if you noticed, make a contrast, sort of a paradox. How can a God who is invisible now become visible? How can a God who has no beginning now begin to be? We say in our church that God condescended. He bent the heavens. He lowered himself to become one of us, to raise us up, as the prayers say, to renew the earth, to renew our nature. With that great mystery in mind, this is the mystery we're preparing for during this Advent season, this preparatory season. With that in mind, another question is asked from the prayer of the Church. O Christ, what shall we offer you for your coming on earth and our humanity for our sake? Every creature has its being from you and give thanks to you. The angels offer hymns of praise. The heavens give a star. The Magi present their gifts, and the shepherds their wonder. The earth provides a cave, and the desert a manger. As for us, we offer a Virgin Mother. O God, who are from all eternity, have mercy on us. Notice how we ended that prayer? Have mercy on us. The Church, through its prayer, its liturgy, its customs, its tradition, presents to us and draws us into this great mystery. And this is the great mystery. Christmas is not about just a baby in a manger. That is part of it. It's about a great mystery, the one and only great mystery. The mystery that an invisible God would become visible through the physical. The Creator would become his own creation while remaining the Creator. We could go on and on, especially through the prayer of the Church, contemplating, trying to understand and behold so great a mystery. Imagine the condescension, the lowering of God. He's infinite, yet he makes himself finite. He stuffs himself into a finite body that he created. But he's the Creator. He's infinite. He's uncontainable. And yet, he so lowers and humbles himself. What an incredible, unimaginable degree of love is this. We can't even describe it. So, in the Scriptures and in the prayer of the Church, in the soul of the Church, when we can't describe something adequately, we can't describe this great mystery, not adequately, we sort of grope for things, for ways to describe it. And so we reach for analogies, metaphors, allegories. They're like poetic, mystical ways to try to describe a mystery, and still those mysteries remain beyond us. No analogy is going to be adequate. But it's the best we can come up with. And the best analogy for this event, this great mystery, hidden from all eternity and now going to be revealed, the best analogy, the most predominant one in the Scripture and the soul of the Church is a marriage. That's right. nuptials. God created, in a sense, a bride. All his creation, and that bride comes to fullness in the church, in us. And he unites himself with that bride in an intimate union and transforms her, perfects her, brings him to himself, and eventually will mount her on the very throne of heaven with him. It is this great mystery that we get the very model of sacramental marriage. That's why marriage is so holy. It's a sharing in this one great mystery. With all this before us, the question, as we heard in the prayers from the liturgy, is, what do we offer God? What can we possibly do in response to so great an act of love? Well, what do we do when something wonderful is going to happen, or somebody wonderful is going to visit us, a guest is going to come, a famous person is going to come in our midst? What do? We prepare, right? And how do we prepare? How do we give that person proper honor? Through our excitement, our expectation of this wonderful person that's going to come into our midst. What do we do? Well, if they're going to visit us, for instance, what would we do? Especially some of you ladies, what would you do? You would clean house, right? You would clean house. You would prepare everything. You'd put out the finest foods. Well, it's the same thing spiritually. A great person, God himself, in the form of Jesus Christ, is going to come in our midst. So we're going to prepare ourselves spiritually. We're going to do that in three ways: through fasting, through prayer, and through charity. You see, our world does not prepare for the coming of Christ. This whole Christmas season, everything leads up to it in the secular world, beyond the world of the church. It is not a preparation really for this great mystery. Think about it. We're told to indulge. It's one party after the other, an office party for Christmas, this Christmas party, that Christmas party, buy, shop, take on, eat, bake, food. That's not how you prepare for something wonderful. The church knows how to prepare. That's why we have to climb on the wings of the church during this time, this preparatory season. The church tells us we don't take on, we divest. We divest things. We divest ourselves of that which is excessive, that which takes our focus off the guest that is coming. We clean house and look at ourselves spiritually. And so we do something like fasting. The Advent season in both lungs of the church, and my aspect of the church, it's called the Philip's Fast, because it happens to begin 40 days before Christmas on the feast of St. Philip. Really doesn't have anything to do with Philip himself, the Apostle Philip himself, but it's just on his feast day, so we call it the Philip's Fast. In the Western church, they call it Advent. Regardless, the whole church, East and West, both lungs of the church, are in a preparatory period for the coming of the Messiah, for this great mystery. And so the Advent season was traditionally, and still really is, a time of penance, of reparation, of reconciliation, of abstinence. Yes, it's a time of joyful expectation. But joyful expectation, you know what the joy comes from? It comes from cleaning house. You know how wonderful you feel after you've gone to confession, or you've done something holy? That's the kind of joy we're talking about, not the joy of more and more partying, more and more indulgence like the world tells us to do. It's rather the joy of abstaining, of stepping back. This is a period of fasting. I recommend something to you. Fast such as abstain from meat and dairy products 3 times a week, 1 day a week, or something like that. But do something that breaks the pattern of indulgence, where you actually feel it, where it pinches a bit. You have to actually be conscious and make that sacrifice. You actually feel that, boy, I want this, but I'm going to say no to it. Why do we fast? Because food is bad? No. We fast because food is good. In the church, we step back from things that are good. We step back from them at times during periods like this, like Advent, so that we can appreciate them better. We can purify our approach to them instead of just being like a consumer. We consume things. We take things to ourselves, and we forget their value, and then we overindulge and take it for granted. Remember, the prayer said that God is coming into the world to renew all creation. So we look even at food in a holy way. It's not to be overindulged with. It's not just to be used just to entertain ourselves. It's to be seen as something holy, as a gift from God. And so we use it in a very measured way, a holy way, a spiritual way. So we back away from it. And in fasting, we also do something that's very essential to us, to our spiritual life, as we expect this great guest to come. We learn and practice discipline of saying no to ourselves, no to our desires that oftentimes lead us to sin, make us less than we should be. Fasting is discipline where we learn to say no, but a no always has with it a yes. It's like baptism. We die in baptism. We immerse in the water, but we also rise to Christ. So we say no to this so as to make room for something better, for a better view of things, for a better sense of Christ in our midst. Fasting has a great tradition in the Scripture. Jesus Christ himself fasted. And oftentimes the fast is 40 days, reminiscent of the 40 years that the Israelites went through the desert. Fasting is our spiritual desert experience. I know this may sound strange because everything else around us is telling us to indulge, to party, to be happy, joyful. That's what pagans do. If we're believers, our joy comes in a different way. Our joy, we acquire joy precisely by divesting ourselves, getting rid of the excess baggage, and having a renewed look at things. The second thing that goes along with fasting is prayer, increased prayer. So you need both of them together. See, fasting animates our prayer. We should be praying more during this time, praying more during this time of Advent. And this includes family prayer, more prayer between husband and wife. It includes more silent prayer. Move into the classroom of silence. You see, again, the world insists on cacophony at this time of year. So much noise, so much partying, lights and food and colors and material things and shopping and running around. Everybody's exhausted and frantic. No. The church says we need more peace, more quiet. What does one of the Christmas carols say? Peace on earth goodwill to men. That means this stillness, this quietness. Pray more. Pray not only in active prayer, but pray also in a contemplative prayer. Step back from things, as we do from foods and fasting. Step back and have more silence. Just open your heart to sensing the presence of God. It will fill you with better things. The third thing is charity. Fasting, prayer, they go together. And the reason we do them is not just for those things in and of themselves, although they are good. Obviously, prayer has its own meaning. It's good in and of itself. But even prayer leads us to something. It leads us to increased charity, to become holier, a person of deeper love. This is why Christ came. He didn't come just so we can buy presents and celebrate and eat a lot and bake a lot and visit everybody. I mean, things are okay, but that's not what it's about. Do you ever notice, you listen to the radio, they start broadcasting these Christmas carols. Most of them are very commercial. They have very little to do with Christ, but they call them Christmas carols, Christmas music. They broadcast it incessantly for weeks before Christmas. Then the day after Christmas, you hear nothing. That's called going cold turkey. It's like going real fast up a hill and then falling over a cliff. That's unhealthy. The world tells us to be unhealthy. And yet, this Christ event, this great mystery, is all about regaining our health, spiritually, psychologically, physically. It's about being reintegrated again, not disintegrated, not burned out and depressed and aggravated and tired and worn out and broke. No, it's the opposite. It's about integration, coming back to our real selves, uniting with Christ, the peace of Christ, having greater love in our household, especially between husband and wife. This is the great spousal mystery, so all the more reason for husband and wife to renew their marriage, their prayer life individually and as a couple. Jesus Christ is all about love. He came to reunite our relationship with God, the Father. And so the prayer, the fasting, all that we do or that we don't do, that we pull back from, the aim is to lead us to the whole reason Christ came: charity, to be a person of greater love. This is what this preparatory season is about. It's so much different than what we hear all around us. And unfortunately, some of this even bleeds into the church. So I ask you, on the mind of the church, with that mind of the church, the prayer of the church, its tradition, its soul, its wisdom, make this time of preparation one of prayer, fasting, and increased charity. Glory to Jesus Christ.
As someone who's used media a lot in evangelization, so I believe in the importance of Catholic radio, Catholic TV, Catholics using the new media. Can I encourage everyone to watch Shalom TV? I think it's a great vehicle of evangelization. And God bless all of you.
Shalom World, God's own channel.